So, How, I mean, kind of go wherever we want here, but NBA betting, college basketball betting. I know you love the college basketball. By the way, I saw Tony on TV the other night, courtside against Kansas State. I was watching that game. I thought, oh, Steve's going to do it again. They're right here. They're going to win this game. And then they do what they do in the second half this season. And it's so frustrating. But at the same time, I had Kansas State minus the points, short numbers. So I was like, okay with it.
Yeah.
But I'll ask you this first. All right, college basketball. Why is it so hard to win on the road? Why is it so hard to win in college basketball on the road? We're seeing good teams, short numbers, favorites on the road, small dogs on the road.
Yeah.
They can't win right now in February. Or am I just seeing stuff?
No, it's hard, and you're right. The home court advantage has bounced back in full force, given what we've seen over the last couple of years with non-crowds. You saw it last night in the Big 12, Baylor and Texas Tech. Baylor was the short dog, just +2.
Ooh.
That I used your advice. I had a little plus money going there. You got Baylor before the game, and then very early on. I mean, you were only halfway through the first half. You got plus 120 on Texas Tech. Here we go. We're good. But that was another example. Texas Tech, hard place to play. Baylor, really good. Now you're starting to see some injuries come in, right? Baylor's
Yeah.
been hit by the injuries.
Yeah.
So what happens there? But this is a weird time too. This is, you're exactly right. You turn your betting attention there for some to college basketball now, but this is a hard 2-week run. This 2 weeks of February, when you're into rematches, in some cases, Big 12, that's certainly true. You're into some teams have mailed it in. Some are really kicking it in because now there's some desperation. Players can see the light at the end of the tunnel. The long season of a grind is under. Weather's starting to get better in some spots. So you have a little bounce. I think it gets really hard to handicap here for a couple weeks until we get into the early conference tournaments where you can start to load on maybe some favorites or money line parlaying a couple together. But tread lightly here these couple weeks. I think it gets really hard right now, believe it or not.
Without a doubt. I know this, kind of talking in generalities. The second time through, when you got the road team as the quote unquote better team or the higher ranked team, laying a short number. I love the home dogs. I always look to these home dogs, and I know the books like needing the home dogs. But the other scenario is when you get like Tennessee at home against Kentucky a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Short number 1.5, and yes, Kentucky, quote unquote, higher ranked team, better team. They got no shot. It's these games now. You're the Big 12 guy. I cannot figure out whether Kansas is for real or not. This is the team. There's a lot of good teams in the Big 12. Texas Tech is going to be a problem come March. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, they're a real.
Is Kansas a legitimate like their odds to win it all? I don't think justify. I'm not sold on them. Am I looking at something off? With
Yeah,
that?
I get what you're saying. I'm probably higher on Kansas than others. I mean, man, if you dig in and watch them, multiple guys, they can go inside, they can go outside, they move the ball, they can guard you, they can do everything. It's just typical of a college team. Do they show up on that particular night? They've been so vulnerable in some NCAA tournaments that I know people nationally get scared off about putting them as Final Four national
Yes.
champions because they just, for as good as they've been for 2 decades, they just don't seem to get deep as much as they probably should. But I really like them. Now, how much do I like them? We'll have to talk as we get into tournament and see some of the breakdowns of the matchups, because that's what the tournament is, Dave. We'll take 10 or 11 teams that I think can win it, and then you've just got to look at path. It's all about path when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Get a top seed, get a 1, 2, or 3 seed, get your path, and that's who you start to examine. But Kansas, real quick, Dave, their losses, Texas Tech, this is in conference. Texas Tech, I'm sorry, not in conference, since January 1st.
Right.
Texas Tech, Kentucky, and Texas. I mean, those are 3 teams ranked 3, 11, and 12 in KenPom.
Yeah.
That's what you're dealing with there. I mean, that's a pretty good profile. So they're in my list. Auburn, certainly in my list. In fact, I don't do this
Yep.
often because of what I just said. Path, they could get a path that you look at and go, oh no, they got no shot. I did take a piece of a future on Auburn at something ridiculous, 40-1 or whatever it was,
Right.
just because the number was outrageous. They're in there. I think Kentucky's outstanding. They've got
Yeah.
a ton. My guy, Oscar Sheboy, that was here at West Virginia, should
Yep.
be your player of the year, in my opinion, which, by the way, side note, keep an eye on his props. We were running on DraftKings there for a while. They wouldn't move it off 13.5. And we just kept hit it, hit it, hit it. They did bump to 14.5 on his rebounds the other night, and he landed at 14. But he should have a big rebounding day coming up Saturday. Kentucky has Alabama at home in Rupp Arena. They're favored by double digits. Watch that line. If we happen to get an 8 or 9 in there, I don't know that we will. I'm probably riding Kentucky. But watch Sheboy if you can find a prop, Oscar Sheboy rebound prop. If it's anything under 14, I would look to hammer that coming up. He had 14 or 15 against Alabama in the first meeting. Now they're at home. I like that one.
So
I wasn't even planning on giving you prop plays. Now I'm giving you college prop plays, rebounding prop plays right out of the gate here. You said get back on it. Here we go. We're back on it. College basketball rebounding prop play for 2 days from now. Here we go.
it's in the rundown, right? I mean, we got it in the rundown. Oh, wait.
Noted.
Yeah, I didn't get the rundown because we don't have a rundown. We're just talking right now. This is what we're doing. So the Wooden Award is Player of the Year, right? Sheepway is now plus 165. Kofi Coburn is plus
Yep.
550. Johnny Davis is 6-1. And then everyone else is 10-1 or higher. Are one of those three guys winning this thing? I mean, it seems pretty obvious to me now. Just kind of, I've been watching it all along, but not like diving into markets like this. But this is a fun market. The MVP market was a fun market for a lot of people. I was going to talk baseball futures. If there were baseball futures, those are fun markets. It's pretty, I don't want to say it's set, but how do you say Sheboy? I think he's going to win this thing. Plus 165. That's done.
When you're the best player on Kentucky with a name that's easy to remember, at least the Oscar part of it,
Right.
and you're on TV constantly with people talk, how do you not win? I mean, that's you talk about.
Right.
I mean, my man isn't coming out of the weeds here. He is sitting at Kentucky and he's producing at an unbelievable historic clip. I think he's MVP. Although, where's my guy Chet Holmgren? Can he sneak in there from Gonzaga, or am I too far gone? I got a 40-1 on him. I took a while ago.
Holmgren's
He's a
down
different dude.
He's down to 16-1.
So I got a great number, but he can't get home, probably, can he? He's not going to overtake Oscar.
Because I mean that was the other thing I was going to address. I mean, the Zags were at Pepperdine yesterday, a conference game. How they were 31-point favorites. I don't think in my life I've ever seen a college basketball game where the road team was a 31-point favorite. Now they didn't cover. They won by 20. Their team total was 96.5. I have no idea. People ask
in a
me all the
40-minute
time,
game. 40-minute game. Yeah.
how do you make the lines? I'm like, the making the lines for like the Super Bowl is easy. It's 3.5 or 4. The total's 50, maybe 47, somewhere in between. Let's settle at 48.5. Put it up. How the hell do you make a line for Gonzaga and Pepperdine? I used to say, I don't know. Like, we put it up and we have an argument. You can't put it 30, can you? Because it's too high. No. Well, you put it 24, you get bets on the Zags. Okay. So you put it up yesterday. I see it come up. I'm like, man, I know the guys that are putting this up. I mean, I know them personally. I'm like, how do you come up with this number? I'd be sitting in a room going, you're too high. Can't be 31, 30.5. Can't be, can it? The Zags are 6-1 to win it all. But you just said it. We can't play that. Not now, because the matchup, the path for them could be, they can be beat. At 6-1, you better tell me you're in the Final Four.
Yeah.
I mean, you better be in the Final Four, but even then, that doesn't mean you're going to win it, right?
Yeah, that's why I think, again, I told you I had an Auburn, but that's, again, not even sandwich money on that. That's just a sprinkle to just have some fun. You just can't, the more critical, I think, than in any other sport, because it's this one and done with the high variance of college. That's the difference, right? You saw
Yeah.
that all the time in the
Oh,
book. The NFL's kind of boxed in here a little bit more.
yes.
This college thing is, I mean, I know I'm out of screen now. The variance that comes with that is just monumental. With
Yeah.
and so what do you take? Do you take defensive teams like Texas Tech? That seems to make some sense. I can make a narrative that fits that defense is going to travel, whether you're in a big football stadium trying to play, whether you're in a smaller building, that it goes to the different venues. When you're a team that shoots lights out, it can be very scary to be on that team. I've told you before, my background in college athletics, I've been at Connecticut, I've been at Maryland, I've been at West Virginia through multiple coaches. Go back to the John Beeline teams at West Virginia
Beeline.
that didn't guard and didn't rebound, but by God, could they shoot the lights out? And when they got rolling in a tournament, you like that. Like, give me Pittsnoggle firing threes from all over and let's
Yeah.
roll in the money. And they did that. They advanced deep a couple of years with John Beeline. But there were other nights when you'd watch that West Virginia play with Beeline and you'd go, oh my God, this team isn't top 300. They can't buy a bucket. So that's what your different styles of play, offense, defense. It's really hard. And then matchups matter. Matchups matter a ton in the
Yeah.
tournament.
Speaking of shooting the lights out, let's just swing it over to the NBA where the Celtics shot the lights out while Newbie was right there. 25 threes in that game, shooting it from all over the place. The NBA is going to take its All-Star break this week, and it's kind of a time to really evaluate where teams are going and then which teams are tanking. NBA betting becomes um, the guys in the room focus on the college basketball because you're ramping up to March Madness, where you do handle for 4 days. The first 4 days of March Madness are 4 Super Bowl type days.
Yeah, no doubt. You've got to get Vegas for the term because I'll tell you what, two best sports days. I love the Super Bowl. I love baseball opening day. You give me Thursday, Friday, the NCAA tournament all day long.
Yeah.
All
Oh yeah.
all day long. I'm in. I'm
Yeah.
in. Two of the best sports days on the calendar. All
No
right, we'll
question.
get as we get into next week. I just said I think it's difficult. College basketball this time of year gave you the little Oscar Sheboy thing to try and keep an eye on. I do like Kentucky at home against Alabama this weekend, depending on what the number is. If we can get it under double digits by chance, I may fire on that. We'll try and look next week. We'll start to
Wait,
look at some more
Kentucky is playing
games
Alabama this weekend?
Saturday. Now this is
Alabama.
basketball. Now
Yeah.
this is not football, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah. But Alabama is one
I'm
of the
sorry. Yeah,
hardest
go ahead.
teams
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
to figure out right now because that team feels like they can put up 100 any night. Or you want to talk about a team that can shoot the lights out. When they are on, they shoot the lights out. But when they're cold, they can lose. They didn't cover yesterday against Mississippi State as a short favorite. They were 5.5, 6 point favorite. They won by 5. Um, that number will be double digits. You think it'll be that high?
Yeah, I think it will be. But remember, I mean, Kentucky won this game by 11 at Alabama. It was back and forth for a lot of that game, pulled away late. Now you're going back into Rupp Arena here against a Kentucky team that's just so talented. I mean, he's got it
What
back
was the
together this
what
year.
was the line on the Kentucky game at Alabama? Do you know?
No, you'd have to look that for
Okay,
me.
we'll have to
But
look
here,
that up.
remember, you talk about situation too. I mean, Kentucky's coming off that beatdown at the hands of Tennessee, and they're returning home. So you were talking about profiles that you like. I know you like home dogs.
Yeah,
That's a profile I like to look at. An elite team off an embarrassing
loss.
loss coming back home against a team it's already beaten once. And you mentioned Alabama. Can they get super hot and go? Yes. But overall, they're just not shooting the three like they did last year. They're bottom 50 nationally in 3-point field goal percentage. So the times at which they get blistering hot and go on those runs are fewer and farther between than they were at this time last year. They've been very good from inside at 2, but their 3 has not been as consistent as it was last year. So if this thing, again, I don't think we're going to get 9. I think we're more likely to see 11. Ken Palm has this thing at 10 right now. Some other
Okay.
projections have it 12 or 13. So just keep an eye on what that number is. Or again, this is another one which you always talk about. If Alabama comes out and hits a couple threes early, what number can we get on Alabama? If you can get me down to a 7 on Alabama, boom, I'm probably riding that thing.
Okay. All right. That's good to know.
Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, click on another video right here on the screen. And if you really liked it, consider subscribing below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.